Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? It is 1:46 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. I've been driving around and I've been listening to some music today. I actually just did this video. I pulled into a parking lot and I was just like thinking about being in early sobriety. I did this video for my Peter Does Stuff channel where I was talking about like being, it was just kind of random. I don't know, it was all over the place. And I'm not gonna repeat it since I just did that video over there, but I just was like thinking a lot about early sobriety today. It was funny because when I started thinking about it, it felt like real inspiring. And I was like thinking about this meeting that I used to go to when I first got sober. This Saturday morning meeting. It was like at 9 o'clock in the morning. And I remember there was like a speaker for like 15 minutes. And then there was like a discussion for like an hour. And they had donuts and stuff at this meeting. I remember they called it the donut meeting or the breakfast club meeting or something like that. But anyway, I loved that meeting when I first got sober. And I would see so many people that I knew. And I was thinking about it this morning. I don't know why. I was like on the way to Starbucks and I was thinking about it. But then between there and then going to this parking lot where I just stopped to make this video, and then after that, I was just driving around listening to some music right now. I was just been like thinking so much about like all of these people that I knew, you know, back then, before I got sober, that are all gone. It's crazy to me. Anyway, I don't know why I was thinking about that this morning, but I was just thinking about like all of the people that are gone. It's weird as you get older, you know, it's like, you know, my dad and Susie, they say that a lot. Like, it's hard, like when I'll talk to them, they'll say, you know, it's hard because like people that I knew in my youth, like everybody's gone. My dad said that to me, like after my uncle died, you know. He was like, I feel like everybody that I know from my youth is gone. And I think it's kind of hard for my dad sometimes too, because, you know, I've said this before, but like my dad is, like, he's in really good health. And if you were sitting there talking to him, you probably would guess him to be, I don't know, late 60s. You wouldn't guess him to be almost 81, you know? And mid to late 60s, I guess, you'd probably guess him for. And so I think for him, sometimes, I mean, he doesn't really say this, but I have to wonder if this is true. I think he has kind of said some things like this, like when he sees people that from his youth that are his age, you know, that they're not in the same condition that he is, and so it's hard because he's like looking at somebody, you know, that he used to be friends with, like when he was younger, you know, and it's like, you know, it's even hard for me. Like, I was looking at some pictures of some people that I went to high school with the other day. And I don't by any means think that I look 30. I know I don't look 30. But other than like my hair being white and whatever, like some of the people that I went to high school with, like, they just look, I can tell from the pictures, they just like, they seem to live a life that is a little bit older than me or something. I don't know, like they just appear older to me. Like, it was like this guy that I went to high school with, which is interesting because he's married to somebody that Alex knows, who's like Alex's age. And, like, I hadn't seen him. I don't even know when last time I've seen him, but, like, in the picture, I was, like, looking at him, and he was, like, I don't even know how to say it. He was just dressed older. Like, he was wearing, not, like, in a suit and tie. That's not what I mean. Like, I mean, like, he was dressed, like, in kind of, like, it was, like, a golfing outfit, but it just was kind of, I don't know. It's like Tanya and I always talk about, like, oh my God, it's so funny. I just looked, the Smith, How Soon Is Now is playing right now. Speaking of the old days, you know, it's hard because, like, like, Tanya and I all talk about, like, she calls it the ghosts of the patio, like, all the people that used to come over and hang out, all of us together, and, you know, it's not the same people anymore at all. And not because anything changed with us, you know, and it's hard sometimes, I think. It's weird too, like, how quickly things changed, you know, like, and maybe it's not quickly and it seems quickly to me, I don't know. You know, I think about the fact that, like, my mom passed away almost 13 years ago. And sometimes that seems to me to not be, like, a very long time. Like, it doesn't seem like it's been a really long time, 13 years. It really has been a long time, but it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't, it seems like, you know, just like that quick. But I think about, like, you know, that first 3 years, Alex and I went on our trip to Lake Norris, Tennessee with all of our friends that we were all still hanging together. So up till 10 years ago, or a little bit more than that, we were all hanging out together, you know? And now it's literally just Tanya and I. You know, several people have gone back out. And a couple people have moved. A couple people we just don't see anymore because our group isn't together anymore, and they go to, like, meetings on different areas of town, and they live in different areas of town, and you know, it's just, it's weird. I think also because that was, like, my group of friends for, like, a long time. Like, even when I wasn't going to meetings, I still kept in touch with them, you know, and would see them at Tanya's house and stuff like that. I don't know, it's just hard sometimes, you know? I think change is hard in general. I've learned through the years to kind of be better at embracing change, but I still wouldn't say that I think it's super comfortable or that I love it, you know? It's weird, though, to think, like, you know, like, okay, where am I going to be 12 or 13 years from now? If so much has changed now, like, where am I going to be then, you know? It's weird to think that way. Anyway, I went to bed really early last night. I was in bed by, like, well, I tried to watch the end of this movie that I had rented, called, I went to the grocery store, and then I came home and I filmed another drama video, and then I made 2 little cheese sandwiches on the Hawaiian bread, and had potato salad and stuff like that. And so then I was trying to watch the summer of '84, the end of it, because I had started watching it when we were on that trip, and I had rented it for like 30 days, and I I hadn't watched the end of it, and I wanted to watch the end of it because it was really good. So when I was trying to watch it last night, it kept on saying, this is not available anymore. I tried to do it on my phone, and I tried to do it on my iPad, and it said this is not available anymore, when it still said I had 25 hours to watch it. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if I'm gonna have to rent it again. I don't know if I'm gonna have to watch it maybe it's available for free somewhere. I'll figure it out so I can watch the end of it. So instead, I started watching on, so people have been asking me where I watched RuPaul's Drag Race UK at, and it's actually on this, you can download the app, and it's the World of Wonder Plus app, and they have tons of shows on there. So I downloaded, or I opened it, and I was just looking through stuff because there had been this documentary on there that not a documentary really, but just kind of the behind the scenes that I wanted to see. And it's called the Work the World Tour. And so it's a tour that World of Wonder puts together of several of their top queens. And season 1 is, season 1, episode 1 is Aquaria, and that was the one that I watched last night. And so the whole episode is just Aquaria coming onto the tour and behind the scenes, and her friendship with Sharon Needles, which I didn't know really anything about, that she was friends with Sharon Needles. And that Sharon Needles is kind of a drag mom to her. And it's hot in here. And then, so then there's Aquaria, Sharon Needles, Detox, Valentina, Shangela, Latrice Royale, Alyssa Edwards. I think that's it. There's 8, I think. So that's season 1. So I'm watching that right now. And then I was going to lay down for an hour, and then I was going to get up, and I was going to vlog, and then come back, and I was going to work on my inventory, because tonight I'm meeting with my sponsor to go through the rest of my inventory that I didn't finish the first time with her. And so I just have to work through a couple of these columns and get some stuff written down. I think it's behind me, actually. Yeah, here it is, right here. So I have to do this stuff, fear inventory. I have to work it through, and so you just make a list of your fears. Why do I have that fear? How has self-reliance failed me? What actions did I take to manage the fear? And what did I try to do to relieve it? And then the last one is, what's the solution to that? So that's what we're doing tonight. And I'm excited about it. I love hanging out with my sponsor. But I need to work through those columns until the 4th column, what's the solution? That's, she and I come up with that together. But I ended up sleeping straight through last night, so I didn't work on that. So when I get done vlogging, I'm gonna go home, and I'm gonna make a video or 2, and then I'm gonna work on that inventory, and then take a shower and go over to her house. So yeah, I'm excited about that. This won't take me that long. I was actually gonna do this while I was watching the movie last night, and well, that had been my plan. But then when I couldn't find that movie, I was just kind of settled into the chair, and I was so relaxed and so comfortable. They still haven't come to do a, what do you call it, estimate on our deck. Oh well, probably the beginning of the week. It's kind of a pretty day outside. It's cloudy though. It's 58 degrees out. It was cooler when I left. So I was like, t-shirt or hoodie, t-shirt or hoodie. Actually, last night I did pretty good sleeping straight through the night. What's the weirdest thing is, I don't remember Alex. He had to go work this morning. I don't remember him leaving this morning. But I didn't sleep in much longer after he left. But I don't remember him leaving at all. I like looked over and Boo Radley was just sitting there sleeping, and I was like, where did Alex go? Where did Alex go? I will say I feel very rested from this week of going to bed early, but I miss like being up late and listening to audiobooks. I'm really, really, really enjoying this audiobook that I'm listening to right now, which I keep on mispronouncing. It's called The Talking Heads Wild Wild Life is on. I keep on mispronouncing it. It's Robbie Couch's newest book, or is his debut novel, and it's called The Sky's Blues, or the Sky Blues, or something like that. It's about this kid named Sky, and well, it's interesting because in the back of the book, like the synopsis, it tells so much about the book that, like, I'm like a third of the way through the book, or maybe almost close to a half of the way through the book, and what it says the synopsis is about just happened. Anyway, this is where it's very similar to kind of like Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, but kind of different in that it's this kid named Sky, and he has kind of like this tragic backstory, and he lives at his friend's house, and her family's like really nice to him, and he lives in the basement, and they have like this bulletin board, he and his friend, of like promposal ideas that he's gonna ask this guy to prom, but he doesn't know if this guy's gay or not. And then so the promposal ideas end up getting like email blasted to everybody, and that's really what the book is about. But like, that's the part that I just got to in the book. It's really well done. If you like to love Simon, or like I said before, that the Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, or if you really like any of Becky Albertalli's work or Adam Silvera's work, you'll like this book. So yeah, I'm reading that. And then I just downloaded 4 books on Audible. I bought Audible credits, and I went in there and I got 4 books. One of them is about these 3 British couples that, this was a book that I was going to read in Florida, and I didn't. I can't remember what it's called. I should remember it because I just looked it up. It's these 3 British couples that are on vacation in Florida, and the resort that they're staying at, this girl goes missing the last day that they're there, and it's like this whole like murder mystery around this girl that goes missing at this resort that they're at in Florida. I got that, and then I got what is the other book? It's about a kid that's he's Muslim and he's gay. I can't remember what that book is called. And then I got The Thursday Night Murder Club, I think is what it's called. And it's about these like old guys in this nursing home, retirement home. Do we call them nursing homes anymore? Retirement home that have like a murder mystery club. They're like a true crime club. They like try to figure stuff out together or whatever. It's getting like rave reviews, so it's supposed to be really funny. I downloaded that, and they're all actually not too long. They're all under like 9 or 10 hours. And then I don't remember what the 4th book was that I downloaded. This is so good. I can taste the honey in this. So, since they're out of the brown sugar shaken espresso, this is like the special one that they make for me that has 3 pumps of chai and 3 pumps honey blend in it. And it's really good. If I turn on the air conditioning, it's too cold in here. And if I open the window, I feel like it's too loud for vlogging. That's Matt's air. back in the day, I was going to write this book, speaking of Max Air. I thought this was such a cute idea for a book. Let me know what you think of this, and maybe I'll turn this into a a series someday down the road. I was gonna call it Max Bet, and the picture on the cover was gonna be of a slot machine. You know, like Max Bet. Like if you're playing a slot machine, you hit Max Bet, you know? But it was gonna be about these two women, and they were like in their early 60s, and their names were Maxine and Betty. Get it? Max Bet, Maxine and Betty. And they decide one night to go to this casino, and like one of their husbands is dead, and the other one, their husband left them, and so they just like really have each other, and they're like best friends, and they both like work at this like factory that's like, oh, the factory's like closing down or something, so they go to this. This is an idea that I've had for like literally like 20 years. I used to think about this all the time about writing this book. So the factory that they work at is like closing down, and they're like customer service reps at this like warehouse factory thing. So one night they decide that they're gonna like take their money, and they're gonna go to this casino. And they've always felt like going to the casino is like a waste of money and whatever. So they go to this casino, and they win this like major huge jackpot, right? And with it, they get like this free trip to Las Vegas. That's like, or like, they get like free airfare and all this kind of stuff, right? So it's like this huge craziness that happens, and then they have somebody following them, but you don't really know who it is that's following them. And, which it turns out to be, it's kind of funny later. It turns out to be the ex-husband of the one woman, and he's like wanting to get back with her, but he's always like, you know, following her, and he's always like hiding behind stuff, and you don't know who it is, and whatever. So anyway, they go on this trip to Las Vegas, and like while they're out there, they keep on hitting these jackpots, and they enter this like slot contest thing, and then there's like this guy, and he's in charge of like these casinos, and he's like Mobster, and he like thinks that they're like up to something, and he like actually lives on this boat like out in the ocean, and this huge boat, and it's called he's called the Shark, because you know I'm afraid of sharks. And he has like this these, what do you call it, in his boat, these aquariums in the boat that have like little baby sharks in it, you know, and he's always like feeding these baby sharks, and he's like real evil. It's all kind of like done very funny, haha. And so he is like feeding these sharks and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like this Maxine and Betty become like these people that are like, they think they're like trying to take down like that they're like trying to infiltrate or take over their like mobster organization, just because they're winning all these, like he can't figure out how they're winning, and it's all just because she has like good luck kind of thing, you know. And it's like they're just kind of really very simple, and they like are just like going to buffets in Las Vegas, and people are like trying to kill them and stuff. So that was going to be the story that I was going to write years ago, and it was going to be called Max Bet. I think that's actually kind of a cute idea, don't you think? Peter, do you drive around and just come up with ideas for books? Yeah, I absolutely do. I'm actually better at coming up with ideas for writing books than I am ever a better writer. Like, I'm a much better ideas guy than I am a writer of books. Maybe that's the series I should be writing instead of this other one that's putting me into a tailspin because I'm trying to figure out every little minute detail about stuff. I'm gonna put some lip gloss on, actually. You know what? My cousin was out of town visiting her other cousin, and she was supposed to be home today. And I left my sunglasses over there on Easter Sunday, and she has not even called me about those sunglasses, and I know she has probably worn those that whole trip. I'm gonna be like, listen, Cousin Caroline, you need to give me my sunglasses back. Oh man. It was supposed to rain this weekend. Like, they were saying that we had all this like chance of rain today, and it hasn't rained at all. I mean, it looks like it could rain, but it hasn't rained. It's so weird going to bed earlier. I don't know why it's weird when I would go to bed the same time anyway, and then I would wake up at like 2 or 3 and go vlog. But it's weird, like, well, last night, because a couple people were like, you're getting up, and on my Peter Does Stuff video yesterday where I talked about it, they said you're getting up and you're eating something and then you're trying to go back to sleep, and even if it's just 2 pieces of candy, you're still eating something, whatever. So yesterday, like, I got up, I went to the bathroom, I came back to bed, I didn't eat anything, I didn't drink any water, I just like went right back to bed, and I fell right back asleep. And but it's weird, like, waking up, like, it feels like I've been asleep for so many hours, like, when I do that. I would love, like, the thing is that, like, I don't really feel until, like, mid to late afternoon, like, I'm ready to make videos, you know? Like, I don't feel super inspired until later in the afternoon to make videos. Like, it takes me a while to kind of like wake up and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then at like 2 o'clock, it kind of hits me and I'm like, okay, I'm like ready to make videos now. Let's like do this and do that and do this and whatever, you know? Especially like with drama stuff, it's like not really anything is happening at 9 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? So, it's great getting up earlier in the morning some days, but as far as like making other videos, it's like, I mean, I could make videos on my other channels and just, you know, my drama video, just like wait, but I just don't really feel like it that early in the morning, you know? That's always like, I always kind of like feel more like it later in the afternoon. I don't know if that makes any sense, but my battery's at like the halfway mark, and I'm like, I think I'm at like 27 minutes. I can definitely see the clock better during the day than at night. Tomorrow we'll go to brunch. God, it doesn't seem like it's Sunday already. Tomorrow we'll go to brunch, and I'll probably have my gluten-free waffle, although I've been kind of craving an omelet this week. When I go over to my sponsor's house, she's so fantastic. She always like makes, she makes like this whole, like, she'll make a cheese plate, and then she'll have like grapes and little chocolates on it, you know, fruits and vegetables, and then she'll do like the nacho. She has like a little crock pot that's like that big, and she puts nacho cheese in there, and then she'll make me all kinds of like mochaccino coffees. She makes special coffees, and she loves to just like make stuff, and she's constantly redoing her kitchen and whatever. We're gonna have a fun time tonight. I'm excited about it. It'll be fun. It'll be a blast. I can't wait. Plus, I always feel like so much better when I'm doing inventory. I think it's like different kind of though doing it with her. Like back in the day, I mean, and this is really like not necessarily, I don't know. She always gives me things to do, like to work on that, you know, to work on this fear. This is what we're gonna do, or work on that fear, or whatever, you know. There were times like when I first did my very first 4th and 5th step, I remember my mom had done hers. I joke about this actually. So my mom did her 4th and 5th step. Well, she did her 5th step. Your 4th step is where you make a searching and fearless moral inventory of your life. Your 5th step is where you go over it with your sponsor. Usually, it can be a pastor, minister, whatever, rabbi, you know. But most people do it with their sponsor. So, my mom, her sponsor had her do it at this place called the Flowing Well in Carmel. And it's like this well, it's like they've redone it now since my mom, you know, first did her 5th step there. But it's this like just this well that constantly, you can fill like bottles of water and stuff out there. It's like stream water or well water or whatever. But anyway, it constantly like flows, you know? It stopped. And this area around there is just very peaceful and very serene. And I remember like she like had a little picnic for my mom. And she gave my mom like this stone that said serenity or peace on it or something like that. And I remember my mom was just like, God, it was such this like spiritual experience and whatever. And now when I've done fifth steps with people, like I've always said to them, like, pick a place that's very spiritual or meaningful to you. I just usually let them pick it. But so I was kind of looking, my mom actually did her fifth step before I did mine. My first fifth step that I did when I first got sober. And so I was thinking I was going to have the same experience, you know? And I didn't at all. I went over to my sponsor's house, my sponsor was the husband of a woman that I worked with that I was friends with. My first well, he wasn't my first sponsor, he was my second sponsor, but he was my first like legit sponsor. He has since passed away. He died of a heroin overdose. Another reason I take this stuff very, very seriously. And because he was a fantastic man. And I remember we did my fifth step, and I can remember we were like down in the basement, and the whole time like his kids were just like running back and forth upstairs, you know? And then his wife at one point like yelled down, she's like, do you guys want Kentucky Fried Chicken? I just started laughing, like, this is not the peaceful experience that I thought that I was going to be having, you know? But I remember leaving there, and you know, when you do a fourth step, you write down, one of the reasons why we write things down is so that we can see them on paper, right? And you know, it was all these resentments that I had, and then I had to take a look at my part in it, and I realized that I had a part in a lot of, well, almost all of my resentments in my life, and those that I didn't, I had justifiable anger towards, you know, and it just was a lot. And I can remember leaving there, and, you know, so many people are like, oh, when I got done with my fifth step, I felt 100 times better or whatever. That was not, I cannot say that that was my experience when I first did it. But I survived, and it gave me a place to start on working, you know, but it was hard. It was really hard talking about that stuff. And now the last time, I mean, I've done a lot of inventory in my life. You know, usually like if something comes up, you know, I'll call my sponsor and be like, hey, I need to like talk about this. And she'll say, okay, I want you to write it out, and then we'll get together and I'll inventory it. That's more like a 10th step, where you do like an immediate little inventory of something of the day and you go over it. But like a fourth step is where you do like, you know, it's a bigger process. And this last time that I went over stuff with her, I literally I left there feeling like this huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Like, I felt amazing. It was still hard to look at that stuff. It was still difficult, but I think the difference this time too was realizing that even though I'm kind of hard on myself sometimes. Like, I think that I can fix more than I can. You know, that I think that, like, well, you know, some relationships are just not meant to be mended. And, you know, some things are just not meant to be set back in place. And I've accepted that at 48 years old in a way that I don't know that I had accepted that at, you know, 23 years old. I was 23 when I did my first fourth step. So I look at things in a different way today. You know, it's like, I can accept that I have a part in something. I can be willing to do what I need to do to right my wrongs, make amends and all that stuff, and do those things. And then I can let that relationship go. I don't have to try to like make that relationship work. I think when I was 23, I was like, well, I've got to fix all that. It was more of like a fixing feeling to all of this. And I don't have that today, you know? And I think that's where the idea of letting go of stuff has really come to play in my life in a very valuable way that, I think there's a lot to be said for this whole idea of letting go and letting God, you know? And, you know, especially with toxicity in your life, like, I just don't hold on to toxicity anymore, you know? Back in the day, I would have friendships that I knew were toxic. Whether I was the toxic person or whether they were the toxic person, it just was not a healthy relationship, you know? They just were not great friendships. And I just didn't ever feel great about the friendship, you know? And maybe they didn't either, I don't know. But I would like, you know, and I think romantic relationships can be like this as well, where you just hold on to it and you don't even really know why you're doing that anymore, but you're just doing it for, just holding on to it for, you know, whatever reason. And then you spend all this time and energy trying to make this situation, you know, workable, that it's just like, it's just not. I don't do that today, you know? If I look at a friendship, you know, and that's usually something that I would inventory with my sponsor and say, hey, here's the situation, whatever. You know, and my sponsor's never somebody that will tell me what to do. She'll make suggestions, but she'll never say, you have to do this or you have to do that or whatever. Or she might say, you know, well, in that situation, I think I would do. She'll say something like that, or she'll say, you know, like, this is what I've done in the past, but she'll never tell me what to do. It's not really the role of a sponsor to tell you what to do. But, you know, in those situations, oh, my battery is flashing, it's about to die. Well, when it dies, I'll pull over and change it in one of these neighborhoods. But in those situations today, like, I don't fight for... Sometimes relationships, like I said, are not supposed to work. Sometimes it's more about letting go and letting God, you know, and just realizing, hey, you know what? I'm a big believer in reasons, seasons, and lifetimes, and not every friendship or relationship is supposed to be a lifetime, you know? Some are there for reasons, some are there for seasons. I think you can look at them and say, you know what? It was great while it lasted. I appreciated your friendship. I appreciated us, like, hanging out and getting along. So funny, I just passed, there's a well right there. You know, best of luck to you. I wish you the best in all your endeavors, and move on. It doesn't have to end nasty. It doesn't have to end in a hateful manner. It can just end, you know? And I think we're so scared of that today. This, like, ending of, like, not having this person in my life. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be totally fine, you know? Whoever you're holding on to today that you know in your heart of hearts, like, that friendship or that relationship is not healthy for you, and you're like, but I just can't imagine my life without that person, you're gonna be completely fine, okay? That is codependency speaking at its best. I don't know who I am and if I cannot define myself in relation to this person, right? You are going to be just fine. You're gonna be just okay. And that was something that I probably learned that through marriage counseling. It was funny because Alex was telling this to Melissa and Jason the other night when we were at dinner. He was like, somehow marriage counseling came up and they said something about what's the most valuable lesson that you learned, and Alex said that we're together because we choose to be together, not because we feel like we need each other. And one of them was like, what? Like, I think it was Jason, was like, what do you mean? And he was like, Alex was like, well, like, you know, I think there was a period where we felt like we needed each other. Like, I need Peter or I need Alex to be alive. Like, how can I live if they're not in my life? When you get past that and you realize that you choose for that person to be, there's somebody turning out here. Now I have to, like, go in here and turn around. When you realize that that person is in your life because you choose for them to be there, like, that's really pretty powerful, you know? It's like, you're not in my life because I need you. Okay, the battery died. So I pulled into this little neighborhood. My camera is so hot, you guys. But when you realize that you're not in my life because I need you, but you're in my life because I choose for you to be there, like, that is a powerful, powerful statement, you know? And I think, like, for me, it's just looking at things from a different point of view or a different perspective, you know? It's a paradigm shift. We used to talk about paradigm shifts when I was in graduate school. You know, a paradigm shift is really when the world looks at something one way and then it shifts and it looks at it the other way. But we can have personal paradigm shifts too. You know, when we look at something and we're like, oh, I never thought of it that way before, you know? And it's really realizing what was true all along anyway. None of you out there who are in marriages or romantic relationships of any kind are in it because you need that person. That's the reality, okay? When you accept the fact that they're in your life because you choose for them to be there and they choose for you to be there, and until the moment that they don't choose for you to be there anymore and you don't choose for them to be here anymore, you guys are going to be together, right? Like, I can't say that. Until the moment that you choose for them not to be there anymore or they choose for you not to be there anymore, you guys will be together. That's the reality. And when you realize that, then that becomes super powerful, right? And it's like, oh wow, I can choose who's in my life. Like, I don't have to deal with this person's nonsense or crap or, you know, BS or whatever. Like, I can choose who I want to be in my life. That's part of taking your life back. That's part of taking ownership of your life back, you know? And realizing that that's a pretty powerful thing, that I get to pick and choose who I want to have in my life. I get to pick and choose, you know, and that's, I think, something we don't talk about enough that I think is important, you know? I was talking about garage sales the other day. I just passed this thing and it's a community garage sale. I should pull through there. See if there's anything that I need. It's so pretty when you drive by the woods and you start seeing like the greenery come up in the woods. And it's just a little bit, and then all of a sudden you drive by and it's like you can't even, like there's, here, I'll show you right here what I mean. This is by the river. But you see, just a little bit. And before long when I come by here, these trees will be completely filled up with leaves. Aren't those purple trees pretty? They're so pretty. And over here, this will be completely filled up too, before you know it. But right now, just a little bit. So anyway. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Spring is such a pretty time in the Midwest. I wonder how high this creek is over here. I'm gonna pass over it in just a second. I have like, oh, not high. Is there even a creek? Where did it go? It's along here somewhere. Oh, here it goes. No? No? Yes? What's that noise? I think it's back there. I think I passed it already. I wanted to walk along a creek bed, but every time I think about doing it, I always get like, you know, well, first of all, I'd wait until it's a little bit warmer, but every time I think about doing it, like I get scared because then I'm like out in the woods by myself, you know. Well, all right, I think I'm gonna get off here now, and I'm gonna listen to my audiobook on the way back, and then I'm going to film some other videos and then do my inventory. So, fun, jam-packed, fun-filled afternoon. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you, and I love you guys so much. I'll probably vlog tonight, actually, instead of tomorrow. So you guys that miss the nighttime vlogs, you'll get one tomorrow. Anyway, I kind of miss the nighttime vlogs too. So anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!